Do fans of this channel think I have any clue about what I'm talking about, or do they think I'm completely full of shit? Well, being that this is the second time we're recording this because I forgot to hit the fucking record button, and now we're going over this again, I probably am full of shit. But we are going to find out tonight for real as I respond to your comments next for the second time on the Hair Metal Guru.
The hair metal guru from Warren to Crew. The hair metal guru. Never forget Charlie too.
Welcome for the second time to the Hair Metal Guru. My name is Anthony. They call me the Guru. And yes, my buddy Patrick is here. And fuck, we got through about 15 minutes of video. And he goes, "Hey, did you hit record?" I'm like, "Fuck, I didn't." So anyway, we are going to go back and he's going to change the order because he came up with questions, or he's going to share some comments from some of the videos that we've done over the past month and get my reactions to them, and we're going to talk about them. So with that, Patrick, welcome back to the show.
This is going to be a lot of fucking fun the second time. It's going to be even more fun. And I went through a whole bunch of videos that we've done together, some that you've done on your own, some you've done with other folks, and found some of the most interesting comments people made on YouTube. And I think it's going to be great to get your take on them because, I mean, let's be honest, the channel's growing so quickly, it's really hard to respond to everything.
Yes, and thank you to everybody who does comment, and please keep at it. I am trying to get in there more to respond individually. If I don't, I do try to read them all. So we are going to go through some ones that he thought were special or maybe funny or whatever that he wants me to respond to. Before we get into it, I did a video a while back. I think I'm going to answer some questions about it later because I am going to be working with FNA Records, who specializes in releasing stuff from bands from the 80s, hair metal and hard rock and the like, and they'll put out like unreleased albums or demos. So they just sent me a couple things. This is the Fallon record. And if you know, Matt Fallon was the singer in Skid Row before Sebastian Bach came in. He also was in Anthrax for a period of time. I'll be honest, I don't know shit about that time period. But you can hear the demos that Matt Fallon sang on of like 18 in Life, and a lot of those classic Skid Row songs, they're on YouTube. So I am so fucking pumped to hear this album that he did. I think it's after Skid Row with his namesake band. So that is one album that I got from FNA, and you can find this shit on fnarecords.net. And then pretty big band, and they get a lot. They put out albums from Dirty Looks and fucking Wild Side and shit. This is the unreleased second album from Salty Dog.
Fucking love them.
Called Lost Treasures. And it said Lost Treasures plus 3 golden jewels. I think it's 3 unreleased songs, or maybe songs that came out later. But it's what was supposed to be the second album. So I'm so fucking pumped about this. If you remember, Salty Dog Come Along was a minor hit off that debut album. And Doc from FNA is actually working on getting me an interview with one of the members of Salty Dog to promote this release. So fucking, it's awesome to be working with FNA. I love getting this kind of stuff and sharing it with you. So I haven't listened to these yet, so I hope to listen to them, and also later on maybe either do a video or at least be able to share my thoughts, maybe do a brief review. But these are what I got in the mail today. So with that, Patrick has questions from some videos. I don't know what the questions are or which videos he's going to ask, but I'm going to fucking ramble on like I do. So Patrick, what do you got for me?
A couple months ago, you and I talked about Eric Grunwald leaving Skid Row. And Mike from Ohio, 7787, says in his comment, and the $1 million question is, why can't Skid Row keep a singer? They have had 7 singers already, I think, 5 since Sebastian left. The problem ain't the singers. The problem is the band. Sebastian, Rachel, Scotty, and Snake can't get past their big egos. And I'll kind of tag this one in there too. Jovi Shania asked Jason Green on his show, which is Waste Some Time with Jason Green, said he's friends with all the Skid Row guys, and there is definitely more to the story than anyone knows. But Jason said it's not his story to tell. Maybe someday the full story will come out.
I just recently watched the Eric Gronwald video where he announced on YouTube that he was leaving. And it sounded like, they have this deal. He had already had known health problems. I don't remember what is this? What has he
He
got?
had leukemia.
Leukemia. Um, but it was like, okay, it was kind of under control. He joined Skid Row, but then his the amount of touring they were doing was not working with his health issues. So I think I probably have the same question a lot of fans do was did was it made clear to him the amount of touring they were going to be doing, or was it not made clear? And once he got into it, he's like, oh shit, I didn't know we were going to be doing this many shows and this much travel for a guy with leukemia. This is not good. So I have that question. Why have they gone through so many singers? Well, I have a couple of different theories. One is they are they got to be in their mid 50s. I mean, they're older. I'm 52. They're older than I am.
Sebastian's 58, so you figure they're all older than Sebastian. So
So they got to be close to 60. So whoever does come in the band, I'm sure that guy probably, the motto for the singer is, look, you go up and you sing the songs, and otherwise you just kind of stay quiet and stay out of our way because this is our show. And a lot of people who have the confidence and maybe the ability to sing for a band like Skid Row probably get there and they're like, wait a minute. Like, I would like to have more of a say in what happens. I think that's an issue. I wonder if the money is what they think it's going. I mean, obviously they sign a contract, but I wonder if maybe after they get going, they feel like, you know what, I should be getting paid more because a lot of what's going on with bands these days now, a lot of it comes down to money. I mean, how many situations do you think don't involve the amount of money? So I think that's an issue. And then you got to wonder if, and I fucking love Skid Row and I think Dave and Snake and Scotty all seem like really good guys, but you wonder why they fucking go through. I would bet it comes down to money and control, but you have to ask, like, are there personality issues that the new singers are like, fuck, I don't like the environment that I'm in. So that could be it as well. So I know I gave you various reasons, but I think one of those maybe three different reasons are why they're struggling to find a singer.
yeah, I will say about that video, a lot of comments came back that we were totally wrong, that we just need to read his book or whatnot. And I have read his book. I I don't think we were that far off. He gave his reasons as being his health reasons, and that it was too much touring and he couldn't make it work for them and whatnot. I don't think we said anything in there that wasn't accurate. I think we just gave our take on it. And you know, Skid Row, there's no doubt that Skid Row is probably a tough gig for anybody. Jizzy Pearl put out a video about how it was anybody who thinks they're going to join that band, it's probably the hardest situation you could get into.
Oh,
So,
sure, sure. And you don't know until you get there. And the closest thing I can ever compare it to is like deploying with the military, where you're always with the same group of people and you never have any time to yourself. Now, obviously, bands aren't stuck on a. Usually, they're doing fly-in dates, so it's not like they're together on a bus for a year like they used to be. But still, you spend a lot of time on planes, on in cars, driving to venues, a lot of time together, and you realize, hey, and I've never been a touring musician, so if somebody says, how the fuck would you know? But I just know at my age, if you can imagine even just going to concerts 4 days a week, all the travel and the planning and all that shit, it gets to be long and exhausting, I'm sure, for these bands. And if you're not built for that life, you're not built for that life.
We did a video around that time also about the upcoming John Bon Jovi is going to be re-recording the Forever album as a duets album. Nick said, "Let's stop the nonsense that John is a rock guy. If he debuted today, he'd be a rapper or a country singer."
Uh,
That's pretty accurate.
yeah. I I loved Bon Jovi back in the day. I think Slippery When Wet is one of the greatest albums of all time, and I still think that New Jersey is amazing. But am I hugely disappointed in Bon Jovi over the last 10 years and whatever? Like, and I've said it before, like I get bands have to grow, but I think I even said this in this video. Doing your fucking Bruce Springsteen, that's where you pull out the old John Bon Jovi solo album, like you did on Destination Anywhere. But I feel like if you're gonna call it Bon Jovi, you should at least give the fans some of what they grew to love you for, and he hasn't been doing that for a long time. And he seems like a good guy. You never know, because a band that big, you have all sorts of people that curate your image and make sure that you look good. But he does seem like a good guy. He does some good things. But yeah, it's I haven't bought a Bon Jovi album, I think, since the album that had Have a Nice Day on it.
Have
And
a
I
nice
was like,
day.
oh, here we go. But since then, they've just gone too far left of whatever it is that I like. And I hope that they get Richie back one time and do a real rock album, even though John's voice is basically shot. I think he can sing from time to time.
Mhm.
And if they spread it out over a long enough time, maybe they could put together a real rock record.
Normarian7717 said about the Bon Jovi situation, "Sorry, but you guys are stuck in the past and are talking rubbish. Bands are allowed to evolve and change if they want. It's their music."
Who wrote that comment?
Normarian7717.
Well, fuck you, Normarian 717, whatever. No, I get that. Like when Warrant went grunge on Ultraphobic, when everybody else, I was like, you guys are just stuck in the past when everybody was shitting on it, and I was like, bands gotta grow. So I get where that fan is coming from. I totally do. It just so happened that Warrant grew in a way on Ultraphobic that I grew to love. And Bon Jovi is going in a direction that I just have a hard time getting into. So shit. If you love the new Bon Jovi, great.
Yeah.
Fucking A, I wish I did. I
I know.
just
I wish I could get into it, but it just fucking doesn't do
but
anything for me.
I listen to the new singles when they come out. I throw them up on YouTube or whatever, or Spotify, and I just usually end up going, "What the fuck is he doing?"
The Mind's Eye CMH also says about this. Now, this is interesting. Bon Jovi's my favorite band, and I actually did enjoy Forever for what it was. I thought it was a good album. However, I have zero interest in hearing John duet with Shakira, Billie Eilish, or any of these modern stars. If the duets were with, say, Dee Snider, Joe Elliott, Johnny Resnick of Goo Goo Dolls, that'd be one thing. But I know that's not what we're going to get.
He's exactly right. Anybody that is still listening to Bon Jovi, the majority of them are people like us from back in the day. People who, and I know what he's hoping. He's like, well, maybe fucking, if he's singing with Shakira, I don't think a bunch of Shakira fans are going to go out and buy this fucking album.
Fuck no.
Number one, these younger people aren't the ones who are buying albums. It's people like us. So what people like us want, the fans of yours from back in the day, we do want you to duet with fucking old rock stars from back in the day. Fuck, I like the Goo Goo Dolls. I like the idea of the Johnny Resnick or Dee Snider or fucking whoever is singing in
Oh,
Skid
shit, yeah.
eventually or whatever. That's what Def Leppard, fucking get Joe Elliott. I
That'd
would
be
fucking
killer.
I'd be jazzed as shit about that. But the people who got John Bon Jovi where he is today do not give a shit about Shakira or fucking Billie Eilish or whatever it is.
Talking about a huge comeback that has taken place in 2025, we did a video about the David Lee Roth comeback. It was a great video, and kudos to him. He just played his second gig last night, and it sounded fantastic. I watched some of the clips on YouTube. But on the Roth comeback video, the Sons of Horrocks X said, you should just do a longer weekly The News show where you put all these bite-sized ones into one, but maybe have a panel like Jay or Brian on too. They're actually funny heavy hitters. This guy is pretty cool too, but he's no Brian.
uh,
I fucking love that. That's great.
that's that's hilarious. I think people don't understand the amount of time it takes into, it's like number one, your schedules need to coexist and you need to, like you need to plan. You need to have an interest in all this. And like Brian has his own channel now. So he and I did a video like a week ago, but to nail down times and go, okay, here's all the topics we agree on, and just Patrick and I just seem to, well, he probably has a man crush on me, and that's okay, Patrick.
I do.
It's okay. I'll send you some more penis pics later on. Okay.
That's all I asked for. It's the only thing I've ever asked you for.
That's right. That's right. So he and I, our schedules just work out. He has, and I'll be honest, he was one of the people who was like, hey, you should start doing some of that. But he was just suggesting that I do them. And I was like, well, fuck, you want to do some of them with me? And that's how the idea got started. So I have mentioned to guys like Ryan, I'm like, hey, if you ever want to do some of these news stories, so you probably will see, like if something comes up on ACDC and Ryan's a huge ACDC fan, maybe then I would do a news story with him. But so far, it's just worked out that it's been me and Patrick. But I point taken, and that may happen in the future. But just like I said, it's not always easy to get these things to happen.
Liberty Caps 97211 also says about the Roth comeback. Old Rockstar fatigue. And I love the music. These tours are transparent cash grabs to continue to fund their decadent lifestyles and or paternity lawsuits. Just put a fork in it.
That's why I'm going to start a Patreon, because I need to fund my decadent lifestyle.
Decadent
All these
lifestyle.
fucking paternity lawsuits that I got from all the groupies that I've been shagging and knocking up.
I mean, Charlie just had those babies.
Charlie had fucking eight
pay
puppies.
for it itself.
Eight puppies. Do you think those things are free or what? No. Number, I think most rock stars at this stage in the game probably aren't living a very decadent lifestyle. Are some of them probably still, banging more chicks than fucking Ron Jeremy back in the 70s? Some probably are. But to be able to go out and perform and look good like Dave, Davis still looks like he's in shape. It's hard to do that if you're still drugging and drinking. So, and are they going out to fucking make money? Like, is it a cash grab? Hello. Yes, it is, because newsflash, we all need fucking money to survive. Like, if in case you didn't know it, I do some shit for money too, and some shit I'm probably not very proud of. By the way, Patrick, you owe me $50 for last night. What's up? So yeah, I mean, do we all wish that it was still like back in the old day where you thought, hey, it didn't matter about money and they were just out rocking and rolling for the love of rock and roll? Yes, but they have homes and wives and all that shit to pay for. And yes, I would do this channel for free, but I also do need to pay the rent. So, and I am hopeful that the channel will one day pay for more of my bills than it does now. Or like right now I make a little bit of money, not very much. I coach and all that shit. But, yes, I do want this thing to become a source of income because I love it and I want to do it more. And but the only way I can do it more is if I make enough money to where I can do other stuff less.
I don't think David Lee Roth needs money.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's got Van Halen writing credit like crazy.
Yeah.
So he's I think he's doing it for ego. But
Sure.
a video you did with a group of folks on the channel was the hottest chicks in hair metal. That was a very fun video. Um, Dockin 1209 said, "Don't forget the chick in the Billy Idol Cradle of Love video."
Uh, I
She's
shit. I know I know and I love that song. I don't remember that chick. Rest assured, I've seen that video, and rest assured, I'm sure I did want to bang her, but I don't know who it is, but she's probably hot.
Chill Tennis Entertainment said, "I think it's hilarious that Mariah's picks for the best of the four. Kim Anderson, Susie Hatton, and Tawny Katane. Yes, I'd 100% sign off on that list."
Well, number one, my picks were the best, and it's not Mariah's fault that she's a big lesbian these days. And I'm just kidding. I love having Mariah on, and she did have good picks, and maybe fucking, maybe girls have a better idea of what beauty is. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. And I got some beauty right down here because I got Charlie, and she has 8 boobies, and you can join her OnlyFans for only the price of 2 boobies. So,
John U2U9R says, "As a gay guy that grew up in the metalhead community, I was pleased to hear that you weren't against trying it for 17 seconds, you say. Too bad, laugh out loud. I'm in South Dakota and we would have had a killer connection between the two of us. I wrote to you before about Skid Row and Poison being my faves in the era, but I liked it all. Your channel's growing, you're getting better and better guests. Maybe I can come by to discuss some 80s music and whatever else pops up with you. I've seen Skid Row 6 times, Poison 8, Warrant 3, Motley 2, GNR twice, and Metallica twice. Keep rocking, bro."
that's awesome. Thank you. And you know, I come from the old school where we joked about being gay, but I am, believe it or not, the least anti-gay person. I had so many gay friends in college, and I used to say it was so cool because number one, they were good for my ego, and number two, you never had to worry about them trying to pick up the chicks that you were after. So I joke around like that, but I fucking gay, straight, or whatever. I don't judge. If you like rock and metal, we can be friends, and I think that's an awesome comment. Thank you so much.
I think you have the best diverse viewer range out there. It's fucking fantastic.
That is cool.
You did a killer interview with Pantera's original singer, Terry Glaze. And Jason Paul 3115 said, and this is just a straight comment. "Well, Anthony, you earned a subscribe from me having a Pantera episode, Cowboys from Hell Forever." Right fucking on.
Uh that interview, and he was in a band that fit in the scene with Lord Tracy, but I was glad to see these Pantera fans coming out and watching that video. Then today, it's July 23rd. I released an interview with Eric Bazillion from the Hooters, who is on the opposite of the spectrum. They were like just a pop rock band that I loved. So yes, the channel is focused on hair metal, but I do have other interests. And if I can get people in different genres to come on here and do interviews, I think that's interesting. And if you're I have had people say that's not hair metal and this is supposed to be about hair metal. I have had people say that, maybe like 1 or 2 people. But if you see a topic and you're like, fuck, I'm not into that, then I mean, I hope you watch, but if you don't watch, you can just say, hey, I'll just wait for the next hair metal related content. But I thought that was a great interview. I love talking about Dimebag Daryl and Pantera and all. Even though I'm not the world's biggest Pantera fan, it was really interesting to hear that shit.
I thought he had an incredible story and he's got an incredible spirit. He's a good dude.
Hell yes. Hell yes. What a positive, upbeat attitude. Even though he was never, he wasn't in Pantera when they made it big. Lord Tracy, I thought should have been big. They weren't. But he's still like, I get to play music these days. Like, how
Oh,
lucky am I?
yeah, exactly.
Lucky
We
fuck.
started something a couple weeks ago, or about a month ago, called the Glam Slam Pick of the Week.
That's right.
And so far, we've had Pretty Boy Floyd, Danger Danger, Stage Dolls, Europe's Prisoners in Paradise. On the Pretty Boy Floyd subject, Crewhead7638 says MCA, they had no chance.
The Musicians Cemetery of America and in my Eric Bazillion of the Hooters, they put out an album on MCA that got completely fucked. You just and shit, Leonard Skinner had the song.
Looking
What
for
was it called?
MCA.
Yeah, but about MCA and how it was a shit label. But it was I think there were bands who were like, fuck, are we really gonna turn down a major label record deal? I mean, I don't know if Pretty Boy Floyd had a bunch of, if they turned down like Geffen, I'm sure they
Right.
didn't. But if you would have turned down Geffen to sign with MCA, I doubt that happened. And when a label is making promises, going, we're gonna do this, this, and this, and then you find out from a lot of bands that were on MCA that they never followed through with a lot of that shit, you know? But they would have the occasional band that would break big, Trickster went gold. So, that was probably enough for some bands to go, okay, we'll sign with you. But yeah, MCA, man, they fucked over a lot of bands that I love.
You had a landmark interview just this past weekend, and it was over 3 hours long, but it felt like it was an hour when you watched it because it was so packed with information. The Jafria interview. And Tiger Tails member Ace Fincham
Yeah.
commented, I was like, damn, 3 hours. But I'm such a huge Angel fan, I had to watch. Good on you, mate, for getting such a full, long, and enjoyable interview.
Um, I've and I'm not, I'm not saying like I don't want to say this in a way that like I'm tooting my own horn, but I've just been shocked at some of the interviews that have that people have shared the stuff that maybe I'm like, wow, they're sharing some deep personal stuff and how some of them, have gone for like 2 hours or this one set the record. And in fact, it was 4 hours and 15 minutes. I cut out a chunk where we were talking about some shit that was, kind of went way too deep that I didn't think it was needed. And he told me to cut out some things. So yeah, I that was an amazing interview. And I said this when I started sharing it. The only every time I do an interview, I go out and watch other interviews of that artist because I'm like, I want to find out like, is there something I don't know? So I
Mhm.
can like, oh, okay, hey, I'm gonna find this out. The only interview that I could find on YouTube of Greg Jafria was from 1985.
Oh, shit.
1985. So it is now 2025. The guy rarely does interviews. In fact, he called me, called me on the phone yesterday, a couple days after, and just kind of wanted to talk about it. He's like, I can't believe I talked that long. I'm like, I couldn't either, but it was amazing. So anyway, it was phenomenal. So thank you to everybody that watched it. I think it's at 5,600 views, and
Yeah, and climbing.
yeah.
This is a good one. Bunter Hayden 66 says, this interview has launched you, Guru, into the national spotlight. Metalman 73100, this is cool, says, I ordered the first two Jafria CDs while watching this episode. A whopping 3 hour plus interview, but time flew by. So good on you, brother. That's awesome. You did great.
Yeah. Yeah. And that those are great. I remember when I did the Ricky Rocket interview and somebody said, "This is the turning point for you." And maybe that was, but I feel like anytime I get somebody to come on the channel and release an interview, like for me it's a big deal because you're like, "Wow, I'm allowing these people, they are coming on my channel to tell their story." And to me that's an honor.
And I would say people need to hang in there because we've booked some really badass guests that are coming up. Can't talk about them. I don't like talking about them until they're done. But holy shit, people, fucking hold into your chairs because we've got some big ass interviews coming up.
There is one, and Patrick lined it up. And yeah, I won't say anything until it actually happens. But if this
It's gonna
interview
break the internet.
happens,
Yeah.
it might fucking break the internet. So
We did a pretty fun, controversial interview about Alex Van Halen versus Sammy Hagar and the relationship between those two and why they're always fighting. KitKat SS404 says nothing better than hearing two grown men try to psychoanalyze the intimate relationship of two other grown men that they've never met or have any connection to. Leave it alone, live your life. My plate is full enough that I'm not going to lose a second's sleep over the Sammy Al drama. And Ryan Johnson, H6B, adds 30-year-old problems. Who cares?
You know what? Like we're not asking anybody to lose sleep over that. We are fans of Sammy Hagar and Van Halen, and what we do on this channel is, like one of the best comments I ever get is when somebody says, "You guys talking about this music reminds me of me and my buddies back in the day." I'm like,
Exactly.
if that's what we are doing, mission accomplished. So, yeah, when we come on, we just share our opinions. And but now we do it on Zoom instead of like sitting in the back of a pickup truck out by a bonfire with a case of beer, I mean, that's what we would have been doing back in the day. And,
Exactly.
and we do it here and we share it on YouTube because there are some people who want to hear our opinions on it. And is it always going to be an expert opinion? No. Do
Oh,
we
no.
do we know any of the close inner workings of Sammy and Alex? No, but we have opinions on them, so we share them.
Exactly. You said it. This is all these videos are dedicated to everybody who did this for hours and hours and hours in high school or in
Yes.
middle school or wherever, where you sat with your friends and you talked shit about the bands that were important to you. So I
Yes.
get it, and so do 4,500 other
And
people.
and thank you to even the people who like leave that. I mean, thanks for checking it out. I mean, I'm sorry that you didn't like it, but I mean, that's what we're trying to do is just shoot the shit.
Exactly. You talked at the beginning of the video about this video that I'm going to bring some comments up about your relationship that you've started with FNA Records, which I think that's so kick-ass. And that Fallon record and Salty Dog. I love the Salty Dog record too. Can't wait to hear either of those. And the access to the artists that you're going to have. This is going to be a huge relationship for the channel, I think.
Yeah, and speaking of the I can't remember if I said this at the beginning, but they're going to try to get me an interview with somebody from Salty Dog. They have so many artists uh, that I would love the opportunity to talk to. And like I said in the video, it's not like I'm not getting what I'm getting paid in is I get free music and
Yeah.
access to the artists. And to me, that's good enough. And what do they get in return? Well, I'll promote it and hopefully get some eyes on their stuff and generate some interest and allow the artists to promote their releases. So it's a mutual relationship. But I'm shocked at I do Hair Metal Mansion on Rock 101, KLOL. I work with FNA. If you would have told me that shit was going to happen when I first released a video 2 years ago, I would have been like, fuck you.
Well, your
Whatever.
viewers are right there with you because Scott Coburn 3577 said, "Awesome, brother! Congratulations on all your good fortune the last couple years. You're giving this entire genre a much needed boost. Keep it up. I actually reactivated my old Instagram account just to check you out on there as well." And then he puts in parentheses, "I hate social media." Rock on.
He's been watching and commenting for a long time. Thanks, Scott. I suck. Well, I suck at Instagram. I'm better on Facebook. I do have a Hair Metal Guru Facebook page. It seems like in the last few months, everybody is just adding my regular Anthony Bryant. Fuck, whatever. I don't care. Go ahead and add that if you want. But like, a ton of people are adding me on Facebook. I'm pretty good at Facebook. I suck at Instagram. I do try to do stuff on there. But thank you, Scott, and yeah, thank you to everybody who has helped this thing grow to what it is.
Alex Vigil 29 asks about the FNA Records relationship. Hair Metal Guru, if you're going to be working with FNA Records, please, prayer emoji, tell them to release those early 80s Angel songs and demos where they briefly had Fergie Frederickson singing. I know you can find them on YouTube, but would love these songs on proper CD. Keep up cool videos. Which begs the question, with this relationship with FNA, do you have access to the people who might be able to make things like that happen?
Yeah. The Doc is what Doc Smiley is kind of what his his stage name is,
Sure.
and he's the owner of it. And in fact, I'm supposed to talk to him tonight. Do I have a bunch of pull to get shit done? Probably not. But he has said like, hey, if you know of stuff that's out there, let me know. And if you bring us projects that we end up releasing, he goes, I'll give you an A&R credit or whatever. So I can ask him about that. I don't know about those demos. I know of Angel. I don't know about those specific demos, but I can ask Greg Jafria because he fucking called me the other night, and maybe I can just text him and say,
You
"Hey,
mean your good buddy
my good
Greg
buddy Greg
Jafria?
Jafria who calls me," and Patrick and I give you because we're like, "Fuck, can who would have ever thought I'd be texting like Stevie Rochelle from Tough and calling fucking Greg anyway. So, but yeah, I'll see what I can find out.
There you go. The other day, you put out our very first Guru Versus video, one of many to come, and that was against my favorite record of all time, Subhuman Race, which I will stand here tonight and say was great. We got some glory. I mean, that's only been out for 24 hours. It's close to 900 views at this point, but it's generating a lot of comments from your viewers. Jimid8278 says, ugh, Guru might be your worst take. To each their own, I guess. Subhuman Race is an excellent album. Not everything needs to be rinse and repeat. I think you honestly said what the issue is for you. Your expectations.
Uh, I know I said in that video that like, oh, hey, I like it when, fuck, if you have some success, just keep doing. I do like bands who grow. Warrant to Doggy from Cherry Pie to Doggy Dog, Skid Row from the debut to Slave to the Grind. I just felt that the growth, if you want to call it that, on Subhuman Race was was not in a way that was going to create earworms. I was not hearing the catchiness and the melody. You are, which is awesome, but I do like growth. I didn't need Cherry Pie Part Two. I love Dog Eat Dog. But there are certain, some people might say, and we might even have a question about this. Some people might say Bon Jovi is growing now, but I don't like what they're doing now. So therefore, I think it sucks. There
Mhm.
is growth that is good, and there is growth that doesn't work for me. Subhuman Race didn't work for me.
In the comments for the Subhuman Race video, one of your longtime folks made a very interesting question posed to you. Their name is Sean Landon Clark, longtime viewer. I try and jump into the comments a lot because I know you can't, and when we're on videos together. And I had a great exchange with him, and I wanted to share it with you because he poses a really good question to you. A little bit longer of a comment, but I'll summarize it here. He says, I've been watching this channel for a long time, and something keeps nagging at me, so this comment has nothing to do with Skid Row. In a few videos, Guru has said that he's never listened to Operation Mindcrime when the album's been brought up. I love the videos and I love the opinions coming from everyone that guests on the show, so this is in no way disrespectful, and I hope it isn't taken that way. As I watch these videos and Guru has his thoughts about whatever the topic is, I can't help but keep thinking to myself, he's never listened to Operation Mindcrime. How's that even possible? How can you have such deep knowledge of this era and genre and never listen to that album? It's just baffling to me because it's not only considered arguably the best album of the era, it's often argued to be one of the best concept albums ever made, regardless of genre. He goes on to talk about how he's learned from you about Lillian Axe and he's dove into the Lillian Axe piece, but he ends it by saying, anyway, I think a great video series would be for you to pick up an album that you've never listened to and do a live reaction to it. If you still haven't listened to Operation Mindcrime, maybe that'd be a great first video. What do you think about that?
That it's a great idea because there are so many albums that either I didn't give enough of a chance, haven't heard in years. So I love that idea. Here's what I'll say about Queensrÿche. There are some vocals, and it's not that I don't like Jeff Tate's vocals, but like I was never a huge Striper fan, not because I don't care. Like I like the Christian stuff, that's fine. But his high, clean vocals just didn't do it for me. I
Hmm.
kind of feel the same way about fuck, what's his Tony
Jeff
Harnell
Tate. Oh,
Tony Harnell from TNT. And Jeff Tate kind of has that same thing for me. So, there's been a lot of people who are like, dude, how can you not be into Queensryche? So, I did listen to like some of the Empire album the other day. I love Best That I Can. I think Silent Lucidity is a great ballad. So, I do think I owe it to, well, probably to myself to sit down and listen to Operation Mindcrime and not just have it on in the background, but actually listen to it and try to understand the story because I do like music that tells a story. I think another thing that I've always associated Queensryche with more proggish metal. Maybe that's way off, but it just seemed like they were known for, having all these difficult different things and I'm like, "Oh, is that proggy?" Well, I'm not really into that, so I could be wrong, but that's one of the things that has stopped me from trying to get into their catalog.
absolutely. I think Queensryche got lumped into hair metal the same way that Saigon Kick kind of did.
Yeah.
They didn't belong in there.
No,
And you don't listen to a Queensryche album about how they're going out and banging chicks and partying. You
right.
know,
Are
they're
you a Queensryche fan?
I love Empire. I was not big on Operation Mindcrime. I loved Empire, and I know that makes me a fair weather fan. That's fine. But I love that record through and through. Resistance is one of my favorite songs by Queensryche.
I
But
was a freshman in college when Empire was out and had a bunch of musician friends who worshiped Queensryche. So I heard Empire a lot because it was new and I
yeah,
remember Silent Lucidity blowing up. And they would talk about the other albums, but I was like, "Hey guys, how about we listen to Tough? What comes around goes around
this
after
is
we
some
get done with
serious music.
this shitty Queensryche album." Anyway, I'm just
I thought we would end on a video that has somewhat become quite controversial in our circle. And that is on the video we did a couple weeks ago, in which we had the songwriter of the who finished the Jani Lane lost song, if you
yep,
will, on there. His name
yep.
was Giancarlo Floridia, and as you know, he came on to finish a song that Jerry Dixon gave to him that will be placed with a Frontiers artist at some point. And I would be remiss if I didn't acknowledge that I have gotten a lot of messages through X
Yep.
about it, especially considering what I'm doing with my book. And I know you've probably heard from a lot of people outside of the YouTube platform,
Yep.
but it's definitely a controversial topic. And Greg ZR-15922 says, I would love to hear this song with some AI generated voice to sound just like Jani. Where do you stand on that?
Well, you were the one who told me that AI is probably capable of doing something like that. You said
Yes.
you heard like
I've
what?
heard the entire Velvet Revolver album with Axl's vocals via AI, and it sounded fantastic.
So I didn't know that AI, I mean, well, AI can do some crazy shit. So if that's true, I would like because here's what I think was disappointing, probably to me and you, and to most people who heard that interview, because I didn't know a lot about. I heard that story. Giancarlo Floridia he had added me on Facebook. So we were already Facebook friends. So I was like, I saw him online. I'm like, fuck it. Asked him if he wanted to come talk about it. So the disappointing part for most people was finding out that Jani Lane's vocals were not on the song.
Yeah.
So if I have the opportunity to hear it, even I mean, is it like okay, it's fucking AI? I still would be interested in hearing what AI came up with just because we miss Jani Lane's voice that much.
Yeah. And, Dean IHO also said, so it's basically not a Janie song, is it? Come on.
Yeah.
And
Um
I, I can I I can agree with that. We were hearing Giancarlo for the very first time, and you can see our live reactions in that video. I've had people message me saying it looked like somebody shot your dog while it's going on. And I would say to that, I think the press release that came out that was on Blabbermouth, that was on Sleaze Rocks, none of it ever mentions that Janie's voice isn't there and that Janie's lyrics aren't present, Janie's melodies aren't present in that, and that it was definitely with, it was the writer's creative license that created this song in the essence of Jani Lane with a very small amount of Janie's music in it.
Right.
So I definitely understand where people feel they've been a little bit duped, if you will, and I can understand that. But I would also divulge to people that we got to hear the song in its form, in its demo form. We can't share that.
Yep.
And I don't want to say too much about it because I certainly don't want to give people an impression about the song
Right.
without letting them hear it their first time. But I think um, this is a very tough story to swallow.
Yeah. Um, when the news came out and you're like, oh, there's this unfinished Janie song, and then you find out, number one, there are no Janie vocals, and then it's not his words, and then you're like, okay, he wrote the music, but the interpreter of the song, Giancarlo, who I appreciated him coming on and I appreciate his excitement about it. And if I were him and I had the opportunity to take anything that Janie had left over and do something with, I would jump at it too. So I don't blame him but as a fan, when you find out that, I mean, really, what is on there that Janie has? Maybe some acoustic guitar. They took off the drums. He added the finger picking. Um, all of the other, I mean, I think most of the other instrumentation was done. He wrote the lyrics. He had a song title, 12th of Never, but he wrote the lyrics of how he thought Jani Lane would have did it. So, we did hear it, and I'll say I enjoyed it. But I also understand why people are like, oh, they feel let down because they're passionate about Jani Lane.
Yeah.
And when you hear unfinished Jani Lane song, your first thought is, I get to hear that voice again. And if I don't get to hear that voice again, I get to hear his words again. And you're not going to get either of that.
No.
So is it still kind of cool that, hey, his songwriting is in that song? That is kind of cool. I'm looking forward to hearing it done. But
Yeah.
it's just it's hard to be as excited as I was when I first heard the story, when I find out all of what really happened with it, and all that Jani Lane had done for the song versus what we hoped he had done.
And I think there's still a lot of questions that remain for me at least. One that we talked about earlier in the unrecorded version of this was why is this not, if this was found by Jerry and Jerry was so excited about it, why isn't it a Warrant song? Why didn't he bring it to the guys in Warrant? Is there not enough creative writing in Warrant to facilitate this? And if they're working on a box set and a documentary, which is being rumored, why is this not built into the documentary? Is, hey, we have this demo. We're gonna, it's like a side angle of the documentary. Watch as Warrant finishes something that was meant for Warrant. Because if it truly was a Jerry Dixon, Jani Lane creation, I would think that would have been meant for Warrant, especially in 2007. So a lot of questions unanswered.
If they're going to put out a box set or something, the biggest selling point they could have is unheard, unreleased Jani Lane material.
Yeah.
And the fact that Jerry didn't think enough of it to go, hey, Warrant guys, let's fucking do this. Or even just to say, hey, let's find another songwriter to finish it, but we'll record it
Right.
and put it on the album or the box set. that would have been so the fact that he was like, no, we'll let somebody else have it and they'll finish it and they'll throw it on. I mean, it like you said, that's a big and I asked Giancarlo, I said, why do you think Jerry didn't bring this to warrant? And he just said, I don't know. That's a good question. It's a very
Yeah.
good question.
And that's all I picked out so far through the comments. But I think that if we find that folks enjoy this as a means of communicating with you through the YouTube comments, because not everybody's on X and not
Yep.
everybody's on Facebook,
Yep.
I think this was a very fun thing to do, and I think we should do it on the regular.
I think it was a blast and it was cool just spontaneously respond. I didn't know what the questions were going to be and you did a great job with that and I like hearing then your thoughts on things that I might say. If you guys are into this, yeah, let us know if you thought this was a good idea. Hopefully I can find a way to make a thumbnail and a title that sells how cool I think this idea is because sometimes that's the most difficult part about these videos is making that shit come off pop in a way that people are like, hey, I'm excited about watching this.
You know, one thing I do want to add to this before we go, I get this question all the time. Where do we get our shirts?
Oh yeah. Um,
People ask me that all the time.
I'll be honest, I get them. I mean, I still have a ton of my old shirts, but a lot of the ones that you see on the channel are I just get them on eBay.
Yeah, that's where I get them. eBay, Amazon, Redbubble, T Public.
And I hate to say it, because I do like I want the bands to benefit, but hopefully they find some benefit from me just sharing this on the channel because no, I mean these eBay, they're probably just bootleg.
Oh, they're totally bootleg.
They're just bootleg eBay things. They have a shirt maker and they get the fucking thing.
Oh
And
yeah.
so, like I said, the
They're
reason
all super cool.
yeah. The reason I don't feel bad is because I mean we're trying to promote these bands. But if the bands like if Sleazebees had a store and was selling this, I'd fucking go buy it from Sleazebees. But since they don't, I go buy it from a bootleg eBay store.
Me too. Yeah.
But if you're not an eBay person, make sure that the people that you buy from have a decent number of feedback and that it's all
Right.
positive. Because like my rule is I won't buy from anybody who has less than 100 registered feedback thing and it's all positive. Because
Yeah.
if you're like, hey, that person sold like 2 items, I don't trust that shit. So
Yeah.
anyway. All right. Hey,
Awesome.
thanks a lot for doing that, Patrick. Hopefully you guys like that. This was Patrick's idea, so I thought it was awesome. Patrick, thanks for coming on and kind of emceeing this video.
No problem. I love this channel. I'd do anything for this channel, and I think a lot of your fans would too. And it's a blast doing the news with you every week and hitting out a guru's pick of the week too. So thanks for having me.
Hey, let us know in the comments what you thought of maybe some of the stuff that you heard and give us an idea of other, and lay out your questions for the channel. Maybe we'll take some of them for the next time we do this. Maybe we'll do this once a month or who knows if it blows up, maybe we'll do it more. But hey, like, subscribe, what the hell, ring the bell. And hey, whatever you can do to support the channel. Truly, I do appreciate you being here. Until the next video comes out, my name is Anthony. They call me the Guru. Take care of yourselves.